Hello, fermented folks.
We have P. Jelly Clark.
All Makatsu.
We have Travis Baldry.
Today we have a really special guest, Leopoldo Gout.
Are you reeling it in and defending clowns?
I am. Earth doesn't even exist in Battlestar Galactica.
This show gives me heartburn. I was like, I loves it, I hate it.
It's called All Fluff.
Oh!
If you didn't know how I actually feel about The Mandalorian,
Don't worry,
this is it right here.
Oh yeah.
Hello, fermented folks, and welcome to another episode of Fermented Fiction, the show where we debate the best movies, books, and shows in the genre fiction realm with our distinguished guests. Said distinguished guest tonight is Shannon Rampe, my fellow Rainforest writer and Pacific Northwest author friend. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on the show, dude. We're really glad to have you, and welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me on. I'm super excited to chat about Let the Right One In.
It's going to be a good time, and you get an A+ on your guest work already for making sure to intro the film really early. Sometimes we don't get to that for a solid 10-15 minutes. So well done, sir.
It's true.
You're already a better host than me, and I respect that. No, man, what a fucking legend. Speaking of legends, I have been little more than a legend and probably substantially less than that, maybe more of just a rumor or a myth for the last week. So thank you, Travis and Jeremy, for picking up the slack. Well, I have been out of commission for the show, but I am back. And if you don't know who I am, if you're new to the show, I'm Claver Mullen, a PNW author of horror and dark fiction and a filmmaker. And my personal update is I live in Montana again right now. So all three of us, all three of the fermented lads here, we're all Montana bound at the moment. Travis is in our home laundry room / farm office.
Very good.
And I am in our family lake house basement. And Jeremy is in Bozeman somewhere, I assume.
Yep, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I do find it funny that though we are in the same state, we are farther apart than probably many people who also live in the same state, because Montana is just enormous.
That is
absolutely humongous.
You're certainly further apart than I would be from Shannon if I was in my home right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm up to. I'm back here in Montana helping out with some family stuff. So I have been getting to live on a lake house for a week, but I also have been changing adult diapers on a regular basis. So, everything has a price, which is a lesson that you learn in Let the Right One In. And we'll talk about that some more. That's my personal update. Travis, what are you up to?
Well, I just got here yesterday, as you know, from the lake house to help with some farm stuff. And then I'm going to go home and then come back and be all around. My update, though, is hopefully not too negative of a subject, but something I know at least you and I are very interested in. I think I may have watched, oh my word, what did I just do? I think I may have watched the first AI written film I've seen. I'm quite confident it was AI.
Was it AI or just bad?
AI written.
Yeah.
I'm pretty dang sure, because it is bad, but here's the thing. I don't know if you guys agree with me. It seems like AI bad has a different, stilted kind of rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Whereas just bad, you can tell is genuine human bad. like Sharknado is genuine human bad.
Yeah.
That robot couldn't do that.
There was something about the dialogue of this movie. It's called Deep Water, and I would love for you to watch 10 minutes of it and tell me if you agree. But I think it was written by AI, and I'm really sad that both Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley were in it, and it was really, really horrible.
Okay.
But anyway, I might be wrong. I'm sure they won't admit if I'm right, but
I mean, with those two actors, the only thing you can really tell about the movie is that they were there for some portion of the filming. It says absolutely nothing about the quality.
Sure. Yeah. I agree with you about the AI bad versus human bad. There is a level of bad that machines will never be able to take away from us. And I think we can all be thankful for films like Sharknado for that. So thank you, Sharknado. Shout out to you for writing your own shit, creating your own shit, even if it was a Sharknado shitstorm of whatever the fuck that movie was. Jeremy, what's up with you, bud?
Well, it is it's bad times out here. We are in the middle of a heat advisory, which is to say absolutely everything I hate about the summer.
Sure.
Which is all the sunshine, all the heat, and just generally the kind of weather that makes me want to sit in a bathtub filled with ice cubes, sipping gin and tonic out of a gallon jug.
Yes.
That's a lot of gin and tonic.
So
I mean, yeah. That's one way to do it.
Yeah, a lot like several two characters in this film. I could just do without the sunshine.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Jeremy didn't even have to get bitten by a 12-year-old girl on the street for this aversion to sunlight to be this extreme.
No one would be comfortable with that.
Not a girl.
Not a girl. You're right.
Makes it known several times.
She is very, very clear that she is not a girl at all.
Not a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that even means she's a she, actually.
We're going to get to that.
Just
in
not
the
a girl.
Facts, actually.
Yeah, okay. Shannon,
Yes.
what's up with you? Who are you? And welcome to the show yet again. Please introduce yourself to the Fermented Realm, and then tell us something cool that's happening in your life right now.
Yeah. So I'm Shannon. I live in Port Orchard, where the weather is absolutely lovely this week. It's about it's a little warm. It's like 80 today, but still pretty mild, all things considered. I write science fiction and fantasy. I am the author of 2 short story collections, Assistant to a Judge of Hell and Other Stories, and When Stars Move and Other Stories. And probably my biggest news is that recently I signed a 2-book deal with Diversion Books to launch my debut novel, Gods of Sky and Dust, which will be coming out in 2027. It is a epic science fantasy adventure about a psychic scoundrel and a scholar who wants to change her world, and the pair of them find a amnesiac robot in the wastelands and go on a quest to restore its memory. And everybody in the world wants to either get control of it or stop them, and hijinks and antics ensue. So it is for fans of Dune and the Final Fantasy video games. And if that sounds like your jam, then you should check it out. Follow me at shannonrampe.com or on the socials, Shannon Rampe author, to stay up to date on that book.
Hell yeah.
I have a
that sounds
question
awesome,
for
man.
you.
Congrats on the 2-book deal.
I have a question for you about that, Shannon.
Yeah.
And I hope this is not offensive. Titles. I've just always wanted to ask an author who has a title like this formula. Did you come up with it? Is it something that you think fits the formula? Because I see a lot of it's a great title. I'm not saying it's not, but the blank of blank at blank.
Yeah.
Is like huge.
It is a pretty common title construction. I wasn't trying. I don't think I was trying to fit that structure specifically, but maybe just because I had seen so many books like that, I had that structure in my head. It does tie into elements of the book. There are gods of sky and dust in the book. Yes. So it's, it has some connection to the story, but
I figured it did. I just have always been curious. And I think one of the reasons you see it so much is because it works so well. Like you got all 3 big elements in there, and it like jumps off the page. They're just such a good formula title, but you see them like it's blank and blank and blank, and there's all the memes and stuff on TikTok and Instagram about those medieval books. I love it though. I love it.
I hope that the release of your book lines up with the release of the Dune Magic the Gathering set and the next Final Fantasy drop.
Yeah,
I don't
that'd be
think they're
great.
actually doing Dune, but I just wouldn't be surprised at this
They
point.
I wouldn't
should. I mean,
either.
at this
Come on.
point, they seem to do everything, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised either.
Just
There
make
you
Paul
go.
Atreides an unstoppable card. Like, why not?
Yeah. We all want a Duncan Idaho Magic the Gathering card.
I'm
Okay,
excited
this is-
about that movie coming out this fall. Or this-
Isn't it? Oh yeah, is he getting his own spin-off movie? Is that a thing?
No,
No.
but
Duncan Idaho.
the second the movie that's coming out is really based off of the second book, Dune Messiah,
Right.
and Duncan Idaho,
Is he-
sort of Duncan Idaho, plays a big part in that book.
Yeah.
Quasi
Nice.
Duncan
That's
Idaho. If you've
It's my favorite one. It's my favorite.
is. It's
book
a
of the
phenomenal
whole
book. I
series.
love that book
So
so
good.
So, okay, I'm going to ask this random Magic the Gathering question now because I made that stupid joke. Do you play Magic, Shannon? Or have you played?
Not really. I have a few Magic cards. I used to way back in the day of like Fallen Empires and Ice Age when I was
Okay.
when I was a young pup. But I have a handful of Magic cards, but I don't really actively play. But I know about the game. I know how to play it.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, like, what color of card would Duncan Idaho be? You know, would he be a red? Would he be red-green? Would he be a different color?
Ooh, I have an answer.
Red-white?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'd be red white.
It's kind of what I was thinking, too.
I think he'd start red white, but
Mm.
spoilers,
transform him.
everybody, spoilers. I think
Into
he'd
Dune
have,
Messiah.
he'd have black when he came
Yeah.
back because he kind of
Red,
was
white,
raised
black
from the dead.
when he comes
Yeah,
back.
red, white, black when he comes
Yeah.
back.
There you go. All right, Magic.
Yeah.
Go out there and do it. Make that Dune set, and you've got yourself a transformable 3-color commander for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. All of this is all the way over my head. And do it
Jeremy.
anyway.
You
Hey.
live in Bozeman, and all of my Magic playing friends have moved. So, well, except for one. So, if you want to get in to the hobby, let's do it.
I do need at least one more expensive hobby.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go.
You never have too many, but what you do have too many of is money. We all know
That
that.
or Warhammer.
Sure.
Yeah, is that or Warhammer?
Please, I'm not a psychopath.
Well, yes, you are.
I mean, not that kind.
Speaking of psychopaths, let's get into this movie about murderous children and their guardians who are also murderous, but in a much more economic way, I guess you could argue. Today we're going to be talking about Let the Right One In, a classic vampire film from, what country is it from? Is it Swedish?
It's Swedish.
It is Swedish. Yeah, a Swedish vampire film from the early mid 2000s when it first came out to pretty big. I think it was a more of a big cult classic movie when it first came out, but Travis will be able to tell us a little bit more about its performance in the box office and such. But I know that today it's largely considered a classic. It is the story of a young boy who meets, and he's kind of an outcast at school. He gets bullied a lot. He doesn't have a lot of friends, has a pretty subdued home life. I wouldn't say it's like a terrible home life, but it's definitely lower socioeconomical and not a whole lot of support. He's very much alone. And then he meets a friend. And that friend is also something of a loner, and they bond and they start talking SOS through the walls together. And then he starts to learn more and more about his new friend and her strange family dynamics and her strange habits and her inability to eat anything, and all kinds of other little fun vampire tropes that emerge throughout the film as this sort of found family story develops and intensifies. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of the story. We'll get very much into it. And if you haven't seen Let the Right One In yet, go watch the Swedish version and then come back and enjoy this very spoiler-ridden show. And if you don't care about spoilers, then you can just go ahead and stay. But we are going to spoil everything about the movie in this episode. So if you don't want that to happen to you, go away. The show will keep existing on the internet, and you can come back to it whenever you feel like it. But without further ado, we're going to get into our debate segment. If you don't know how that works, we're going to roll 2d20s. High roll will defend, let the right one in, and argue that it is a fucking amazing film. Low roll will attack it, regardless of what anybody actually thinks. And then afterwards, we'll all talk about how we actually feel about the movie, give you some fun facts and all that good shit. Our debaters tonight are going to be Jeremy, representing Fermented Fiction, and Shannon, representing the entirety of the literary realm. No pressure. Shannon, Jeremy, I'm going to leave Travis to count you all in. Goodbye.
All right,
Very
everybody.
well.
Let's have a mostly clean debate. Who am I kidding? You don't have to make it clean. The one rule
Good,
we
that's a
have
good-
on our show is that you do not filibust. All right, there's 10 minutes for both of you to share, not 5 minutes apiece. Kind of the timer is loosey goosey, so please do not hog the microphone.
Man,
When you feel
But
like you've
Travis-
maybe talked enough, let your opponent have a few words in there. Other
but
than
Travis, how do we know who's arguing what?
that, you don't think I'm going to do my job, Jeremy? Let me
Yep.
do this on my own time. Get out of here.
Fine.
Other than that, hits below the belt are encouraged. There have been some real low blows on this show, and that's fantastic. But as Jeremy hinted to, because he doesn't think I'm going to do my job, we need
That's
to roll
right.
dice first, which I did remember. I was going in a different order today. So, Shannon, Jeremy, roll your dice,
Okay.
please.
All right.
Got a 12.
12.
Got a 14.
Oh,
14 and a 12.
This is
So
the
Jeremy
close
is
one.
going to be pro, let the right one in, regardless of what he actually thinks. And Shannon, you are going to be against, let the right one in. Although I wish you would have won that roll because the children are 12, and that would have been a great victory. Like 12, 12, whatever. That's not how it worked with the dice gods today. So
Yeah.
I'm going to count you in. Jeremy's going to start us off with a positive in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Well, look, this is a pretty easy movie to kind of love. I'm a sucker for tiny Draculas. Who wouldn't be, obviously? But like, it is such a, it's kind of an unexpected story that you wouldn't think of if you're thinking like, oh man, it's dark, there's snowy, there's a kid getting bullied and a little girl that only comes out at night. You think this is going a certain kind of way, and then you get this like cozy, creepy, kind of adorable love story with a handful of grisly murders in it, and I for one am all the way here for it. You know, the performances are, I assume, pretty good. I don't actually speak Swedish, but I read it and they look like they're saying the things that they believe them, and that's good. And yeah, largely effects are really tight, like clearly practical, except for some stuff with like 30 cats attacking a lady, which is great in its own way. It's too many cats to keep in one room, but it's great. And yeah, I mean, there's so much to love here, and that is where I'm going to rest my opening arguments.
I'm glad you feel that way. It's too bad
Thank
that
you.
you're wrong, because this movie is a snooze fest. It is so slow. It's so boring. And, you know, it's really one of those art house films that is just so up its own butt with how cool it is that it doesn't get around to actually telling the story until like 20 minutes into the movie. There's also like, I'm glad some of the stuff that you brought up, like the acting, you know, the main characters, they do a pretty good job, but there's some terrible acting in this. The poor kid that plays Connie, the bully, like not believable at all. Also, you brought up the special effects. Those cats, it just looks bad. I'm sorry, it just is not good.
That's a 2008 good though.
Is it? I don't think so. You know, Jurassic Park, you guys talked about a few weeks ago, came out in 1995, looked a whole lot better than that. There's also a lot of scenes that just don't go anywhere. Like they don't drive the story forward. The scenes with Oscar and his dad. Like there's two long, painful, boring scenes with Oscar and his dad that serve no function in the plot whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd push back on that. Well, not that they don't push forward the plot, because they don't, but like, if anything, it just helps it feel more real to life, especially when your main character is a child. Like, there is no realistic way to say, oh, that child is always like going out and doing things and advancing the plot, because as a child, he doesn't really have a say in what he's going to be doing day to day. Like, there's no way to make that feel realistic. You have to take the child and put him in places where he just kind of has to be because someone said so. That's why he's at school surrounded by these assholes who just want to like pee on his stuff and hit him with sticks.
Why is there so much
and-
peeing? Why
I
all
don't
the
know.
peeing? There's a lot of
Hard
peeing.
to
in
say.
this movie. Did it
Hey,
really
people
need all the
pee.
peeing?
People pee like all the time. I
Yeah, but we
I
don't need to
myself
film
do
it.
it several times a day. So there's that. I don't know. Pee fixation aside, I think the breaks in the story, letting it breathe, letting you wonder kind of what's going on, even though it is pretty clear, like right off the bat, that you're dealing with a little vampire girl, not a girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you then, because something that really drove me crazy, Hakan, who is Eli's caretaker in the beginning of the film, he is the worst murderer ever.
Yeah, he is just not good at doing murders.
How he's like in a light woods in the neighborhood where people are out walking his dog, and he is strung somebody up in a tree and cut their throat, and the neighborhood dog is walking up, and it's like, how have they survived at all with someone this incompetent? It's just,
I will say
it's just painful.
that is definitely an oversight on his part. I would say, hey, they're new to the area. They don't know where people are walking their dogs yet. Yeah, they just moved there. They moved there right at the beginning of the movie. I saw it with my eyeballs. Now, but yeah, he's not great at doing murders, covering his tracks, and so you got a little Ely just having to take matters into her own hands. So that's what it is.
Let me see what else I got here.
Now, what you got, man?
You know that Hakan's incompetence is not the only problem with the way characters act in this movie. I mean, he's standing around outside the gym, peering in the windows, and nobody thinks this is weird at all.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been playing sports in a gymnasium while there's probably like snow and whatever outside. But yeah, there's not really much to look at, so you tend not to, especially if you're playing. Like, you got to be in the game. Got to get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. But as it were, I think it really shows. It makes sense for the character we've seen thus far in the film. He's not like, he clearly wants to be doing what he's doing for whatever reason. We don't find out before his face melts off and he falls out a window. But it shows that he wants to be there and he wants to be doing things well, but he lacks the ability for some reason. Maybe it doesn't matter. He's not the focus of the story, and frankly, that you're focusing on him so hard is, really telling. Seems like you're grasping at straws a little bit. I don't know. I thought there was one very, very cool, probably thoughtful moment in this where, like, Khan was, sitting in the little restaurant where everybody's having a drink, and he's drinking milk, which, fun fact, I don't know, but milk is basically just filtered blood for people who don't know. Same basic components, but a few fewer ingredients. So I don't know. Tie to being a vampire, I suppose. Something.
That's his blood drinking, is to drink milk.
Hey, it shows that maybe and probably he's doing this because he wants to be, an immortal killing machine. and I think this movie does a really great job of kind of communicating stuff without having to outright say it, because it doesn't tell you a damn thing about vampires, but it shows you it. I don't think they even say vampires in like the whole. No, the Oscar says it like one time.
Yeah.
2 times?
Yeah.
2 times.
Oscar
It happens 2 times in the whole
vampire.
Yeah, happens 2 times, but the rest is just, oh, Ely can fly, Ely can jump, Ely's biting the crap out of some dude under a bridge. And you're like, yeah, I get what this is. And it's really good. It's really good storytelling. It's letting the story kind of tell it without somebody having to be like, I bet it's vampires, and then doing like 30 minutes of research about it.
Well, you're right that there's very little told in this film, and in fact, there's very little dialogue. There's very little that happens at all. It could have really probably they could have just cut out a lot of the scenes of snow falling from the sky and over random overpasses, and the movie could have been 30 minutes long. A tight 30 minutes. That's what this movie needed.
Yeah, it could have been a tight 30. And the whole cozy, creepy vibe would be gone with it. That's what you're talking about cutting is the coziness and the creepiness, which I personally loved about this movie. And furthermore, I think that it is so weird that while this is very comparable to Twilight, it is okay, Clay's muted himself.
Shut up.
Cut me off.
Shut up. I'll do the shut up for him.
You don't have to do it. Don't do the Twilight reference. Shut the fuck up.
I already did, Clay.
Okay, good. But I had to make sure I got to say that to you. I don't always get the opportunity. And I missed the episodes last week, so I had to yell "shut the fuck up" at you just this once. I've also never gotten to yell that at Shannon. It was a great opportunity.
Yeah, you really got to seize that.
Yeah, you do. All right, well, it's time for our Drink of the Week segments, which we originally invented just to break up the show and to justify our name, and it has continued to do both of those things, so we've kept it around.
Actually, has anyone ever gotten the history on this show? I don't think we've ever told about the Drink of the Week mini history.
I mean, in bits and pieces, perhaps.
Because
do you want to do that?
Yeah, we started Beer of the Week when we were Sinister Soup and thought this is gonna work. But then we ran out of beer. So Clayton and I were like, you know what, we're gonna cut Beer of the Week. But then we cut it and we didn't have a break in the show, so we were like, you know what, we're gonna bring back Beer of the Week.
Yeah. You guys had a break in the show, but it was like Game of the Week.
Yeah, we
tried
good
stretch of
episodes for a bit, and that did not work. It did not. Anyway,
we've tried and failed at many things, but what we have continued to succeed at is getting drunk on the air. And so we're gonna keep it rolling. I will start because I have this awesome bottle of bourbon that Travis gifted to me. We are back home building a cob wall, which is like a wall of mud and straw that hardens together to make a solid structure, and then you plaster it, and it's kind of like adobe, but you can build it in a wetter climate. And what a lot of people do with it is they just shove bottles in the wall for things to hang things on, or you can stand them up for decoration. And we're going to stand this one up, Ghostwood, because it is a Montana whiskey that no longer exists. And it's super tasty. So this is a super special bottle right here. We will never see its like again. Its watch is ended. And it's going to get shoved in a mud wall and live in there. So it's going to be great. And I'm drinking it tonight because it's pretty fitting, The ghost
Yeah.
woods. I feel
Yeah.
like they got some of those up in Sweden for sure, and there's probably vampires in there.
Probably. He definitely tried to hang that guy upside down in the Ghost Woods.
That's where, I was gonna say that's where Hakan goes to do his
Certainly.
killing in the ghost.
Yeah.
Woods.
Very, very
If it's not just the
unsuccessfully.
locker room.
Also, where people
Um,
go to walk their dogs.
Yeah.
And cars
Just
are just
not
driving by
great
in the
at
back.
murders.
You know? 100%.
Just
Must
right in
be
the
an
middle of
intern
the
or
city.
something.
Yeah. It's a that point about Hakan is a good point. Like, how long has he been around, and how is he not better at this? Like, what are we doing? Like, get
even
good.
if you're new in town, like, come on.
Get good eventually. Like, learn how to like scope out the joint. You know. But I don't know. Again, we don't really know anything about him, so we don't really know how old he is. For all we know, Ely like turned him and just keeps him around as like an excuse to move around. We have no idea.
I mean, he moves around in the daylight, so probably.
Yeah,
not
we know he's
bad.
not a vampire.
Yeah, he's drinking that milk though. He
Yeah,
wants to.
He
be
is
a
drinking
vampire.
milk.
All right. So Travis, you want to go next? What do you?
Yeah,
got?
sure. All right, we're gonna play a little game here. Sorry, Shannon. I'm really like going off the script on this episode a lot, and I didn't do it on purpose. But ready, Shannon? These two know the answer, but just like name that
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon, name that beer.
PBR.
Oh, Clay.
Clay?
If Shannon can name the Pokemon, it is. It's PBR. That's what I got at the farm.
Okay.
Way to
That's
go.
I was
right.
gonna
man.
guess Rainier, but PBR. That makes sense.
Very close.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess.
Yeah.
I ruined it. I got too excited. Jeremy?
It's PBR.
Well, hey. So my drink of the week kind of has a story on it. I try to be as on theme as possible, but it turns out on short notice it's kind of hard to find a bottle of Swedish Punch. So
Sure.
none of that. So what I did was I took this here Jamaican rum. I took
Sure.
this here cola syrup and some limes to make the lime and cokery. It's a daiquiri, but with
Nice.
the cola syrup. It tastes crazy. So
That
Nice.
sounds excellent.
good work, everyone.
I love the tropical vibes to go with the Swedish winter. And yeah, I mean, that sounds delicious. And I'm glad that you didn't get the infinity bottle out for this. Shannon?
I am drinking Icicle Brewing's Alpen Haze. It is a hazy
Oh, yeah.
IPA from Leavenworth. I've had quite a few of their beers and hadn't had this one yet, and I find it quite tasty.
I love Icicle. They make great beer. And I have a lot of fond memories connected to that brewery because always would go there after rock climbing and stuff.
Cool.
And yeah, I've had Alpen Hayes on the show, so that's a returning champ. So you know, Icicle Brewing. Just saying.
Yeah,
You know?
come on, guys.
Just saying. All right. Let's get into some fermented facts. Travis, do you got some fun facts about Let the Right One In for us? You want to let us in on some facts?
I will, and if anyone has others, go ahead and jump in, although I will say they were kind of slim on this one, but hey,
Yeah.
hopefully I got the best ones. Number one, it was voted Movie of the Year by Empire Magazine and was the first foreign language film topping their list since City of God in 2002. Several tricks were used to create the right sound effects for some of the gorier scenes. Biting into sausages was used to replicate biting into skin and flesh. And this one makes me want to vomit. Drinking yogurt was used to sound like drinking blood. Also, the sound of the children blinking was made by the skin of grapes rubbing together in a blinking motion, which I didn't even
Weird that
notice
you
that
needed
that sound
sound.
effect was
I
that
didn't hear that.
emphasized. Yeah. But hey, go sound effects people. The drinking
go.
yogurt, the guy that
They're
had that
earning
job,
those paychecks.
no thank you. I hate yogurt, and drinking it sounds like the worst way to consume it. All right. Number 3. At around 1 hour and 45 minutes in the film's final scene, Oscar and Ellie use Morse code to communicate. Ellie or Eli, I'm not sure. Morse code to communicate. They are tapping out the letters P-U-S-S, which is Swedish for kiss.
Aw.
After Ellie's just murdered like 5 people. But
Yeah,
that's the
they were kinda
cozy
dicks.
and the creepy that Jeremy's talking about, the combination.
Yeah.
They're gonna stab that kid in the face.
Yeah, that's true. At around, well, I don't know. I don't know if he would have gone through with it. He was all talk, I think, but he's not anymore because he doesn't have a head. At around an hour and 30 minutes, when Oscar spies, everybody, I needed this one, okay, because I'm always concerned with scenes with kids. I'm always like, how did they get that shot? Like, I hope they didn't violate any laws. The scene of Ellie changing clothes and the scarred genitalia is a mannequin. Okay, it's a mannequin. We can.
That's great.
Because you never know.
Be cool.
I didn't
Travis.
think that it would be any real body, but there's been some weird shit, like Cannibal Holocaust. They were killing real monkeys and stuff. That's the rumor. But
True.
number 5. I'm not even going to try his middle name, but both John Lindquist and Thomas Alfredson admitted they do not like or care for vampires. And I will look up who they played in just a second, but I have too many pages open, so I can't do that right now. But in a second. Number 6. This movie was shortlisted in the Best Foreign Language Film category of the 81st Academy Awards by Sweden, but the Swedish jury chose Everlasting Moments as the country's entry instead, which I've never heard of, so maybe they should have chose this. Number 7, almost every scene in the movie contains the color red or reddish orange, a reference to the color blood. Number 8, despite being asked twice by Oscar, Ellie never reveals her true age. It's often speculated that she's around 300 years old. And number 9, I was wrong. I piped in during the debate to help Jeremy out with his facts, and I gave him the wrong fact. The word vampire is not used twice. It's used only once. And around
I was right.
1 hour and 19 minutes. Oscar
Suck it,
says
world.
Vampire. And number 10. This is the one that I didn't know until I looked at the fun facts, but apparently it's in the book, but I didn't read the book. Ellie constantly asks Oscar if he would still like her if she was not a girl. And is constantly talking about how she's not a girl, which I always just thought was, because you're a vampire, which is true. But in the book, we are told that the scarring in the genitalia area is because Ellie was a boy who was castrated before, like at the same moment as being turned into a vampire. So
interesting.
Not a girl.
That's a lot of bad things to happen all at once.
Not a vampire. Yeah. Which is why it's constantly referenced in the movie. And I missed it. I definitely, you can miss it but I'm sure if you read the book, that was actually a really cool addition for the little factoid there. Those are my 10 main facts. I'm going to add a little something today. But before I do, any ones that I miss that people are interested in telling?
So I've got
it is
one,
based
but
on
Dan
a
should go
novel.
first.
Oh, sorry. It's based on a novel of the same name. Lindqvist, the author of the novel, also wrote the screenplay for the film. And there was a stage adaptation that toured in Sweden and in London. And I was in London when it toured, and I saw it in London. And it was really fascinating.
Was it good?
It was, spoiler, yes, it was great. Also, another interesting fact that I had no idea until I started digging into some information about it. But the two performers, the actress that plays Eli, she was overdubbed with another actress's voice to sound older and less feminine. So they basically found another actress, Elif Salen, I'm not sure if I'm sure I'm not pronouncing her name correctly, but to voice her, and then they dubbed over it, and the dubbing is so good. Like I could not
Oh yeah.
at all.
Yeah, when I read that too, I kind of like any of the little moments that I was like, is she not doing a good job acting? I was like, that's probably just the like couple moments that they didn't perfect the voiceover, because for the most part, I think she gives a great performance. But there's like a couple scenes where I was like, that was kind of awkward, and then I read that fact and I was like, that's probably why. Probably why it was awkward. Jeremy, you had one?
That's wild.
Yes. Well, at one point, there was Ely starts showing Oscar like, "Oh, this is how you solve a Rubik's cube," and she's wrong about it. You don't start with the corners. You solve one side and then go from basically bottom up in layers to solve a Rubik's cube. Starting with the corners will get you nowhere.
Interesting.
Will get you absolutely nowhere, guys.
That's a good fact. That's a good fact.
Good fact.
Take that.
I know that there's a pattern to Rubik's Cubes, but being the stubborn, prideful man that I am determined to figure it out by myself. I will not look up how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and I have been struggling my entire life to just try to will the pattern out of the Rubik's Cube. And I can't.
You're doing great, bud.
Good luck.
I did see, Jeremy, that you have one there on your shelf in the background. I noticed that at the
Oh
beginning.
yes.
Very, very on point today.
Yes. He's
There
ready.
you go. This guy gets it. I'm all about the theming around here.
I do love that scene just because Ely showing how to do the Rubik's Cube is the most realistic, like showing somebody to do something that I've ever seen. Because you always try, like, you know how to do it, but as soon as you try to show somebody, you're like, wait, not like that. Okay, and then you go, no, and then, but it's a great scene. And I love how they just don't even show us the Rubik's Cube. They're just like, yeah, you get it. I just want to point out one thing. It is a fact. It's not like about the movie per se. I just love the fact that if you haven't seen the IMDb page, the actress that plays the woman who lights on fire in the hospital room on IMDb, her profile picture is that scene where she's just fully ablaze. It's not like a headshot. It's just
so good.
that scene of her completely on fire.
I'd pick that or the cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, you know who I am. I'm this lady who
I got lit on fire.
lit on fire in Let the Right One In. That's me.
Yeah.
That's great.
Incredible.
And, you know, that is probably how she introduces herself. Like, are you in? Because if you're an actress, someone will always ask you, are you in something I've seen? And she'll go, oh, yeah. You remember the lady in Let the Right One In that lights on fire? This girl.
That's
right here.
Yeah.
Right on. Travis, thanks for the fun facts. How did this movie do at the box office?
Well, before I do that, I want to add a couple more, but these aren't necessarily facts. But I have started looking at the goofs section of IMDb, and it's pretty fun, even for like great movies. If you want to go look at some of the little tiny continuity errors, there we go.
There you go.
It can be a good time. Like one of them involving the Rubik's Cube, the camera cuts away. So when Oscar's solving it, it cuts away, and I think it's like all white with a red, like one red square, and then when it cuts back, the square's blue. All of a sudden, this one was really funny. The bully holding the hair, he puts the head underwater with his fists facing away from him, but then under the water, his knuckles are like facing towards the wall, so he would have had to like turn the
turn the whole kid underwater.
Yeah, you gotta just twist the kid.
Twist that kid. It is a lot easier if the kid's underwater to twist it.
Yes. Just twist him.
Just twist the kid.
Those were the two kind of most funny ones. Other than I think the acid scars switch sides of his face. When he tips the acid over his left side, and then in the hospital it's his right side that's burning. So it's like
it's true.
They did.
Dadgum two-faced himself.
Yeah.
Dadgum. He's got like 4 faces, that motherfucker.
So those were my two fun facts. The two names I mentioned were the director, Thomas Alfredson, and John Lindquist, as our distinguished guest Shannon said, is the writer of both the book and the movie. I also didn't know there was a mini series on Showtime. Has
Oh,
anyone watched that?
Have not. One of the some interview that I read or something mentioned that Lindquist. So when he sold the rights for the American remake, Let Me In, which came out a couple years after Let the Right One In, he apparently sold all the rights, and so he had nothing to do with the TV series and has basically disavowed it. So haven't seen it, but also haven't heard anything good about it.
Did he help the American remake though, the movie, or no?
I don't know how involved he was, if at all. He wasn't. I haven't seen the credits for it, so I don't know if he's like credited as producer or anything like that. But
yeah, I saw he's on
writer on it.
He's got a writing credit, but I think that's because the book is his book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't look at the producer credits or anything though. It was Matt Reeves that wrote and directed it, and I liked his early stuff, but it was an okay remake. I did like that they changed the name because, like Clayton said at the top, like go watch the Swedish version. It's good that you don't have to really search like Let the Right One In Swedish. Because there is only one Let the Right One In. They changed the name. I kind of like that they did that, and more movies should if they get remade, or just don't remake foreign films and go watch a movie with subtitles. Like, suck it up, it's fine.
Just do subtitles. It's okay.
Come on. Or learn Swedish. What do you people do?
That's an option too. Sure.
Always an option.
And a joke. Was this movie successful? Critically, yes. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, which maybe doesn't mean anything to some people. 7.3 on IMDb, and if you are a constant user of IMDb as I am, anything above a 7, good movie. It's hard to get 7 and above on IMDb because there's so many reviews. So if you see anything on IMDb with a 9 or 10, that's an excellent product or
bomb movie.
Bomb movie. It was a financial success as well, even immediately. I do think Clay's right that it kind of gained more success as a DVD release, especially in America, but it had a low enough budget of $4.5 million, which is the kind of American equivalent of the Swedish currency, and it made it 11.2. So it almost got to 3 times its budget.
Nice.
Made over 2,
there you go, man.
Which is kind of the industry standard. So it was a financial success in the box office, as well as definitely a huge sleeper hit in the future with DVD releases, and the horror community really dig this movie.
Yeah.
And I think we can go from there into learning. Shannon, are you part of that community that digs this movie?
I absolutely am. I love this movie. Big fan of this movie. I think it just shows how diverse of a genre horror can be. How many different types of stories you can tell with horror. I also think it's just such a great character story. You know, it's really these two young people, and they're finding one another, and it's kind of a coming of age story. It's kind of a found family story. It's got these incredibly sweet and touching moments, and then these moments of shocking violence, and sometimes the like most horrific scenes are in unexpected places. Like, to me, one of the creepiest scenes is Hakan is getting ready to go do some inept murdering, and he's putting together his murdering kit, and he's just munching on an apple. He's just like chowing down on this apple while he's cleaning his killing knife. And it's just like, Jesus, this guy is crazy. So I really like that it has like those unexpected, the horror is unexpected in it. And yeah, really just the performances of the two lead actors, really believable. the character growth, the type of story, the construction of the story, the cinematography. It's beautifully shot. Like I love everything about them.
Jeremy?
Hey.
Hi.
So this movie, I think I didn't have to like lie or anything. It's good stuff, right? It's cozy, it's creepy, it's like a frankly adorable little love story with some horrific grisly murders. And of course, the one scene where this lady gets attacked by like 13 cats, and that's not even all the cats in the room. I'm like, why the hell does this guy have so many damn cats? This is crazy. And it's like the first direct comparison I can think of to this movie is not even a good one, because when I think romance with Dracula's, it's Twilight, and Twilight is hands down way more nightmarish in every way from beginning to end than this movie.
Came out the same year too, I think.
Yeah, like crazy.
Vampires were so hot that year. So
hot.
Just ooh. But like, nah, I love it, and I love the like that you don't have to beat it over the head. There's no scene of Oscar hitting the library, looking up like, well, what could this be? A vampire?
What?
It's like, are you a vampire? But no, there's none of that, and thank God. But you got everything you need to piece that together for yourself. Like, girl only comes out at night. She moves like some kind of otherworldly thing, and it doesn't have to wear a coat outside, even though they're up to their tits in snow, and that's great. Now, sure, that guy is no good at murders. We can all agree.
He's terrible.
Absolutely no good.
No.
Must be an intern or something. I don't
The
know.
way I interpreted that is that he used to maybe be good at murders, but it's like any professional sport. You get up to 40, 45. You got
he's over the hill.
Your
think he's
body's
over
not
the
working
hill?
the same.
He's not changing with the times,
Yeah, he's not thinking as far ahead. He's getting a little slower. That's how I interpreted it. He had a heyday where he was murdering great.
Exactly.
He lost his
should have
fastball.
transitioned to like coaching or commentating long ago, but
he would have been great in the
got something to
booth.
prove.
Should have gotten a different murderer to train up.
Would have been great in the booth.
That's give his kit, pass the kit. You can't have.
But yeah, I think this is a great little movie. Slow burn, just feels like a slice of life, except there are Draculas.
Sure.
It's and like I like the side stories with people like that guy who's just torn up for almost all of the movie over the murder of his best friend, and he can't understand it, and then until he gets murdered, and probably should be, because he was about to stab a little girl in a bathtub.
He was going to do that.
Not good. What if he had been wrong and that was just, just a weird child?
Yeah.
What if it was just a weird child?
I mean, to be fair, he did literally see her jump on his girlfriend's neck and chomp down, and then later see his girlfriend incinerated by sunlight. So much like Oscar, I think he had all the info there.
He did have all the pieces. He had all he needed to kind of piece
the dots.
it together.
It was like, I think this little girl's a vampire.
I think that's one of those things.
It is like super crazy that Oscar just out of the blue is like, you know what we should do? We should just do a bloody handshake together.
Yep. Yeah. We're going to be blood.
I wanted to talk about that scene because, one, it totally makes sense for Oscar because he's this kid that's sort of like got this little sociopathic fixation kind of going on with murder and stuff like that. But like that scene, when he does that, that sort of sets into motion all the actions that are going to carry forward to the end of the film. Because Ellie loses it, she goes out, she attacks the woman, and then it's her boyfriend who then in vengeance comes after Eli, and Oscar then has to step in and decide if he's going to take action to save her, and ultimately decide against violence despite all of his prior fixations. So it's like really like such a crazy good turning point in the film from a structure standpoint.
Yeah,
It
and
picks
I
up
like
the
that
pace,
he gets to witness violence firsthand, and I think that
Yeah.
kind of changes his mind. He's like, "Ooh, maybe not."
I know. He has that moment early on where he can choose his level of violence, and he does. And then he sees, like, someone get ripped clean in half. And he's
Sure.
like, this maybe isn't for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna
Clay?
pump the brakes on this violent stuff. Yeah, I mean, I love this movie. Obviously, it's my exact kind of movie. It does that thing that I really like, where rather than subvert the tropes, it sort of just uses them to its advantage, and uses all the tropes to not tell you anything and just show you everything. Like, we all know all the vampire tropes, and this movie knows that. So it never once tells us that she's a vampire. It doesn't have to, and nobody wants it to. And that's part of just what makes it awesome. And then it turns the tension of the movie isn't about like, oh, who's the vampire going to get next? Or, oh, is she a vampire? For real? Is she actually a vampire? Like, sometimes that's the game. But this one's game is like, is she, and I don't know. I don't ever even feel like the tension is like, is she going to kill Oscar? I never felt like at a single point in the movie like she was going to kill Oscar. I don't know about you guys, but even the first time I watched it, like, she does not seem threatening to him. It seems like a very genuine friendship and companionship, and I think that's really cool. Like, even when he cuts his hand, I don't think she's going to attack him. You know, which is interesting. In almost any other vampire movie, that's exactly what you expect, right? Like, oh, you cut your hand. Oh, you're fucked now. Ellie can't control herself, but she totally can. She's just like, she has to lick it off the floor and everything, but she's never to the point where she's gonna like jump on him and kill him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a cool new twist on that sort of a vampire dynamic, where you have a vampire and a human sort of like having a relationship that it never turns into this weird like power struggle thing. She's genuinely like protecting of him and continues to do that all the way through, even though she does it in ways that perhaps are detrimental to his existence, like by doing a triple homicide, like in his school in front of a witness. Oh, that scene though is just fucking amazing.
The
like,
pool scene is
it's
insanely
so good. Just underwater the
feet.
whole time, stuff starts dropping in the pool, and then the cherry on top is that she left that one kid alone, and he's just like crying. And it's just so fucked up. It's like, oh my god, to be that kid. Like,
I think the feet is a part that I didn't remember. I remember the arm
Yeah,
is like, because
the
I
feet's
watched
the
this
best.
probably too young, so I remember the arm part as like as a teenager. But like watching the like feet go in and then just like drag across the pool, like I was like,
so
oh,
so awesome. And then the head comes in after that.
It is such a fun move to have her be like, well, fuck you, but
You're cool.
you're cool.
Yeah.
You're cool.
You weren't doing anything. And that's interesting too. I mean, throughout the film, she sort of has her own sense of justice, you know? Like, she shows up to put Hakon out of his misery. And then she does attack like pretty random people, I guess. But like, she, again, you never feel like she's going to attack Oscar, her friend, even in the most extreme circumstances. That's never a thing. She also never attacks like Oscar's family that I recall. I don't remember that happening. And that's, you know, kind of interesting. Like, in almost all the other vampire films, they would they would use something like that to create tension. But this movie has like plenty of tension without manufacturing any of it with those like super extreme character dynamics, and it plays more into, I don't know, it feels like a really real human relationship. Like if you were really somebody's friend, you're not going to like hurt their family. You're not going to hurt them. And you would feel really, really bad if you did that. And it never feels like that's a possibility even. So that was kind of cool twist on it. And I do like just the peeling back of layers. I love the slow burn. So yeah. I also like that it's just a nice little like love story. But like between kids. So it's like this sort of youthful, curiosity based rather than like lust based, which is so dominant in all vampire narratives. Like almost all vampire stories, by the nature of the tropes, by the nature of the monster, are very sexual in nature. So I like that by using younger people, you still have a romance element, but it isn't so sexual and lustful. And it kind of puts another new twist on the genre that is pretty uncommon, I think.
Oh yeah, Dracula's a hella horny.
So horny all the time, except for in this movie. Travis?
Yeah, I agree with everything y'all have said. It's a great movie. It's a cult classic for a reason. I do think Shannon's point and we're going to talk about in the panel, one of my questions is about pacing, because I think on rewatch, there is a moment of this movie that drug a little bit for me, but Shannon, also, you're correct. I love the turning point really quickens the pace at the right moment. Like it was right at the moment when I was starting to be like, okay, is anything more going to happen, or are we just going to get a lot more snow? And then that's when he like cuts his hand, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're picking up here. And then once you get to the hospital room, like light on fire in the pool, it's like, oh, I remember why this movie's so famous, because holy crap, there are some shots in here that are unlike anything that's been put to film. Even the CGI cats, I like did it for me somehow. Like they looked weird and janky, but it worked, and I liked that addition of like cats hate the undead. But I think it's a great movie, well put together, well acted, well directed, well written. Thomas Alfredson also has made one of my top 10 favorite films of all time, which is not this one, but Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. If none of you have watched that, listeners or anybody alike, it's like the spy movie, in my opinion. It is absolutely phenomenal. Also, little details that I missed when I watched this, again, too young. Like I didn't get the like little background of political stuff. There's a couple of conversations where you hear people talking about the Communist Party in the 80s in Sweden, which Sweden, I don't think, I looked it up, has never been under explicit communist rule, but it was like it's always been a party, and there's been tension there, which was cool to see. I remember originally when I first watched it thinking that the dad scenes were unnecessary, but seeing now that, like, I don't know, it establishes that extra layer of Oscar, because that in the beginning of the movie, I'm like, his dad seems awesome, and why is he not just there? And then you like get the scene that's like, oh, he's an alcoholic. And there's a reason that they're divorced, and there's a reason Oscar maybe has these weird tendencies and a little bit of a rough patch in his life. So I thought those were cool character establishing, and that they didn't do the thing that everyone probably expected of like, oh, the dad's gonna get killed by the vampire. It's like, no, it's just telling you who Oscar is. He means nothing other than you need to know more about Oscar, which I think is cool, and something that isn't done enough of like, you can tie a moment to a character. Not everything has to be part of the horror or like that is horrifying in its own way. You don't have to tie it to the vampire explicitly, which I thought was cool. That's my opinion.
I agree. I think they did a really good job of choosing what to show and what not to show, what to tell and what not to tell, and just peeling back the layers of the film throughout. And with that, we've peeled back yet another layer of this podcast episode. And the next layer coming at you is our 5-minute break. So we are going to play our 5-minute break video. Everybody go ahead and turn off your cameras and microphones because that will take you off the screen. So Shannon, go ahead and hit your little camera icon. Thank you. And I'm going to play this video. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks for tuning in to Fermented Fiction. Hello, Fermented folks. Welcome to another episode of Fermented Fiction, the first of our new season, and I believe it's season 4. The show where we drink beer and argue with each other and bring on really awesome creative guests.
If you'll permit me to go a little bit outside the box. Once upon a time, apparently, people used to sniff mummy remains, powdered mummy remains like cocaine. So I think 3 lines of powdered mummy remains, if you can get to that as well. Yeah, that'll get you right to really enjoy the movie, you know?
Dave told us all about making a mead, and I talk shit about Tom Bombadil, as I am wont to do whenever people bring up Lord of the Rings.
You would. You should.
And then that's
Everybody
exactly what he
freaking
made.
chill about Tom Bombadil, or I'll get unreasonably upset.
So, in your assessment, what did you think of the everyone kind of paired off, or at least a number of people did, romantically? How'd you feel about that? Did that seem really forced and dumb to you, or?
Tom Bombadil is a merry old fellow with his bright blue jacket and his boots are yellow. Right?
It's our yellow.
Right.
Imagine discovering mummy remains and oh my God, these ancient figures. Dude, what if we crushed this and snorted it, yo? I bet we'd get fucked up.
Let's talk for a moment about the fucking all-star cast in this movie. We have Ewan McGregor slaughtering it the entire time, main character energy, top to bottom. You can't argue with it. Women want him, men want him, everybody wants Ewan McGregor. Okay? If you don't agree with that, you're lying to yourself.
Apparently she had a backstory, but they cut it because she's very hard-nosed at the beginning. And then I will say another pro of this movie is their chemistry is hot. And I feel if they didn't have that chemistry, I would have been ugh. Because she says at one point, she's oh, it's the apocalypse. What are we going to do? Fuck. And he's and then later when they are kissing, if they didn't have chemistry and if it was 2 lesser actors, I think it would have been an eye roll, felt cheesy, but you feel their bond.
The Langoliers themselves were originally going to be portrayed by puppets. And I think maybe they should have. Maybe they should have.
Dude, that's amazing.
There's no maybe about that.
And I wish that I could say that there was something greater happening here than the war diary of a broken man living as sort of this White Tower academic with all of his friends sitting inside the Eagle and Child drinking beer and pretending Magic Lion Jesus isn't really silly. Because, it is. If we can just all be very honest with each other.
The Lord's work out there. Good job.
I like to think that I am. Most people aren't big enough, but I am. I'm willing to settle up,
Yeah. Dedicate that time.
You're
willing to dedicate that time.
The time, the money, all of it.
That was so painful. It's one of those painful things.
Oh, that was so
good.
That was so good. We've never been so savagely attacked by any author on their show. It's incredible.
Dash it right there.
You better be doing those things.
Do them.
Those are some good things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smash all them buttons.
Just pretend you're Hakon, and those 3 things are a random dude in a locker room.
There you go.
Hang them up and bleed them dry. Pour them
Just
on your
get
face like acid.
And get caught by their 2 friends
Sure.
who
Get
just
caught.
hadn't left. But
Get
somehow
caught doing it.
You didn't know. You didn't know that they were just hanging around.
And then
were
have
just kind of
those 2 friends also like, comment, and subscribe.
Get
Because-
caught by some people walking a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell them to like, comment, and subscribe because that's how we do this shit. Word of mouth. Word of mouth is everything.
Strictly, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll get there one day.
One day.
Yeah,
All
wherever
right.
the hell there is.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome
Thank
back,
you.
Shannon. Thank you again for joining us on the show today. This is our panel
Yeah.
section. We will still be talking about Let the Right One In and probably spoiling it. So fair warning on that. But also having some questions that I think are related to our discussion we just had. First one, hopefully, is a little lighthearted and funny, but maybe serious. I don't know. I've constantly wondered, and this is a question I have for all of you. You first, Shannon. Are foreign films that I watch really excellent, or do I just not know if the language barrier is helping me judge the acting correctly? All that to say, what Jeremy said earlier of like, I think the acting's good, but I also don't know Swedish. So I'm curious what you all think about, like, because I have thought that before of like, I'm watching this movie, they seem to be doing a really good job, but also I'm kind of going between the reading and the watching, and like, I don't know the language, so I don't know if their voice is like conveying the word the way that it should. So emoting in foreign films, do you think there's a way for us viewers who are not versed in the language to fairly and accurately judge that?
Yeah, Shannon.
I don't know. But I have some. I don't know about that universally, but I have some opinions about that in this film in particular.
Okay.
So for this film in particular, there's a lot of scenes with no dialogue or with very little dialogue, where you're really only paying attention to what the performers are doing, how they're behaving. And so I think that you can see in this film how the actors are performing and really get a sense of the way that they interact with one another through just their body language and their expressions and that kind of stuff. So you're not just reduced to reading subtitles. Interestingly, too, and the characters are a little awkward, and I attribute that to the fact that they're awkward 12-year-olds, one of whom clearly has some social issues, and the other is a 300-year-old vampire who clearly has some social issues. So there is some awkwardness in their interaction, but to me, instead of feeling like bad acting, that feels like really authentic, honest to the characters acting. So universally, I can't say whether that's an answer to your question for all foreign films, but for this particular one, I feel like it's pretty evident that the performers give some really stunning performances, and that most of that is through their body language and expressions rather than just the dialogue that you're reading at the bottom.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're very right, because it is really hard to say, partly because I don't speak Swedish, but it's mostly because so much emotion is communicated like visually with just the face and the eyes and everything, that when it comes right down to it, only a fraction of what you're trying to communicate is being communicated like vocally and audibly. That being said, there are instances, allegedly, where removing the vocal quality can turn a bad performance into a good one. I'm talking specifically about what I've heard about The Happening, the M. Night Shyamalan joint. Apparently, if you turn the sound off on that movie, it becomes an incredible movie. Or at least
I
a
don't
good
know.
movie.
I'm going to have to test that out, because I get
That's
what
worth
you're
a
saying,
test.
though, about the vocal. What? No, I
No.
would never. Like Mark Wahlberg's weirdest delivery of all time.
Yeah, it's really
such
something.
a strange film.
That's just a rumor I've heard.
Interesting.
But hey, yeah.
I have on that before
Let's hear it.
Clay, you jump in. I have seen a direct. Someone did a review of Moana, the live action Moana that just came out, and put the animated one and the live action one side by side,
Ooh,
and kind of
that's
to
just
the
up there.
opposite point of. It was one scene. It was the scene where Maui introduces himself, and it's the same voice, but like the animation and the way they did his facial expressions when he delivered it for the animated movie, so much better than like
Yeah.
the Rock's dry delivery in the live action. Even though the voice is pretty much exactly the same, inflections and all, but like adding the like extra tick of emotion in the liveliness of the body movements really does something for the character. So I think, to your point, Shannon, that works the other way as well. But Clay,
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much of the mind that good acting shines through regardless of the language barrier, and I can point to several foreign films for which that is true. I mean, Ringu has incredible performances. One of my favorite movies right now, just in general and just period, actually probably was remiss to not put it on my top 5 list we discussed last week. But this movie, No Other Choice, is fucking amazing, and I won't stop talking about it until everybody watches it. But you should all go watch No Other Choice. It is awesome, and that's a Korean movie, so again, subtitles the whole time, but the performances are absolutely breathtaking, and it shines through the entire time. So I don't know. I think good acting shines through. But I think Shannon makes an excellent point in that this movie, everything in this movie is used so intentionally and sparingly. Like when they use violence, they use it really efficiently, and they like finish it and then they move on. It's not like super gratuitous. It does its job and then they move on. Like they could have spent another 30 seconds with the cats, but they have her run out of the room and that's it. Like when they light her on fire, they don't sit and linger on that for very long. Even it, like we see it roil up and we see some people run in and be like, what the fuck, and then that's it, you know. And like even the pool scene, like relatively abrupt, you know. And we don't get a close up of the corpses on the ground. We actually get this like wide angle still shot from like a security camera vantage point that just shows the scene from kind of far away, and then we leave. And this movie does the same thing with dialogue. Like it has really great lines, little quippy like one-liner lines that are nice and witty and fun and do a great job of portraying the characters, and I feel like every line matters in this movie. Which is something I really love about it. Like he asks, like I love that line, "Are you dead?" And she's like, "No, can't you tell?" You know, and it's just like great lines like that all through the movie. Or the dad, like you were saying, the dad with the alcoholism, like they don't say, he never says like, "Oh, Dad, Mom said you shouldn't drink when I'm here," or like, "Oh, you said you wouldn't drink anymore," blah blah blah.
And they don't do that thing where kid's just talking to Ellie and being like, "Yeah, my dad drinks, and it's been a real problem."
Right. Like like when they talk about his parents or if he's poor, she's like, "Are you like poor?" And he's like, "I don't know," which is like a great line, you know, because that is so true. It's like kids don't know. Like usually, I don't think they have some sort of subconscious comprehension of their status in society, but they don't know necessarily like what poor means. But somebody who's older and is like a vampire would totally know on a very different level. And so I think this movie just is very economical with its dialogue, and that made the acting all the more impressive to me, because we've talked a lot about on this show about like sometimes kid actors are just not great, and that's not really their fault. Like it's hard to act. It's got to be extra hard to act as a kid. And I think it's really hard to direct children. It's definitely hard to work with them on set. Like there's whole other sets of rules you have to abide by. You can't have them on set for as long. They always have to have handlers. So that means there's always somebody literally like watching them, supervising them while they work, which isn't true for other actors. They're also sort of that means the director also sort of has like a supervisor, depending on how good that handler is and how professional, and if it's their mom or whatever. Like kids bring a weird dynamic to a film set that isn't present with an adult actor, and so there's a lot of factors that go into play. I'm not just saying kids can't act, because some kids can act really fucking well, including these kids in this movie. So I'm really impressed by both especially the principal actors in the movie, regardless of the foreign language aspect.
I guess that will go into my next. Well, this wasn't my next question, but it will be now because I wrote it down, and it fits better. Is I want to talk about child acting, child characters, specifically this movie, but Branch, I would love to know if some of your favorite performances by child actors. What do you think makes it work well? I think one thing, like, what do you think makes a kid believable? Because there's many movies, many TV shows I've seen where it's not. Stranger Things 5 keeps getting ripped apart on the internet for having like some of the worst teenage dialogue we've ever seen. It's like kids don't talk like this. But anyway, yeah, what do you think makes child acting, child characters sort of believable in a movie? What does this movie do well, and what's maybe another movie you think does it really well, has a good performance?
Shannon.
Boy, I mean, this movie does it phenomenally well. I struggle to think of other films that have such great kid acting, like really this level of acting.
Yeah.
Because the amount of subtext around like bullying and the complexities of fear and posturing and all of those sorts of things that are coming through in these two performances. And some of that is the writing, right? The story is constructed to tell us that kind of story. But these characters, these two actors really carry it. Gosh, I'm trying to think of another film with a child actor that is that.
We can come back to you too if you want.
Yeah. Pass on. I'm going to pass on that, and I'll maybe go back.
We'll circle back. Clay.
Well, we did just watch Logan Lucky, and the little daughter in Logan Lucky is a fucking rock star.
She does great.
I love her singing scene, how she just sings like an actual kid. They weren't like, let's get you in the studio and like make this sound super perfect and like get everything perfect. Nope, they're like, you go ahead and go out on that stage and sing Country Roads like a real fucking kid. And it was great. One of my favorite movies of all time is Pan's Labyrinth, and the main character in that is a little girl, and she does a wonderful job. The kid that plays Egg in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, that kid is amazing. That he does such a good job. He's hilarious. He's charismatic as fuck. And he's a really good dramatic actor too. That's the one of any like kid actor in recent memory that like stands out to me really, really far ahead of others is that kid's performance. And I can't remember his name right now. I should know it, but I'm terrible at names. But yeah, the Egg from Night of the Seven Kingdoms would be my favorite kid actor, like at the moment. Just like the realisticness of the realistic portrayal of like sports too in that film or in that series is amazing. Like when they're cheering for the jousting and he's just like, yeah! That kid's so good. I love that kid. I hope that kid has a really long and amazing career and no Justin Bieber stuff happens.
Yeah. God willing.
God willing, and the creek don't rise. Jeremy?
Hey, yeah. I think what it comes down to, and I think it goes to the point of like when you talk about, say, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, or like the other big one that comes out with a great child actor is like The Sixth Sense and Haley Joel Osment and stuff. But like, I think it comes down to to like whether the person writing, directing, whatever realizes that kids understand things just as well as adults do, maybe better, but they just don't know as many things. And that
Mhm.
if you can communicate that in the dialogue, in the performances, if you understand that a kid is not just a tiny idiot, it'll be
Yeah.
good. I don't know. I feel like most of the time, if you have a kid, they're being portrayed the way adults think of kids, which is kids a tiny idiot that believes in magic. What a dumbass, or something like that, or like they can't understand things, and they can. You just have to explain it. And this movie, I think, is great. It sidesteps the issue of kids dealing with adults almost entirely because, yeah, that's what it is to be a kid. You kind of glaze over your interactions with adults because they don't matter to you, really. And yeah, I don't know. It just helps the whole thing feel real if you don't say like, look at this little person. It's dumb.
I agree, Jeremy. It is best
Shannon,
that
did
is
you
not
did you
the
think of an example
totality.
before I pitch
Well,
my
yeah,
2 cents in?
I did think of an example. I also thought of like Jeremy, to tag on to what you were just saying there. Like, I think writing that understands that kids are not just dumb people, but that
Mhm.
kids have a rich emotional life that they don't have the language or the sophistication yet to be able to explain what's going on in a bullying situation and all those conflicting feelings, but they can feel them, and good writing writes for that. And
Mhm.
so, I think it starts with good writing.
Yeah.
And the other example of a good child actor is Jack Gleason, who played Joffrey Baratheon.
I mean,
That poor
yeah.
kid.
Oh yeah.
He's incredible.
Just quit.
Such a chilling
So-
performance.
So good.
God.
Yeah.
Game
Yeah,
of
and
Thrones
was
was full of good child actors, but it's truly tragic that Gleason was so good at acting that he ruined his fucking life. Like,
Yeah, basically. He just ruined
death
his
threats
career.
for the rest
They
of his
can't do this
life.
anymore.
Yeah.
Daniel
I love
Radcliffe was an amazing child actor too.
most of the Harry Potter cast did a
Yeah.
fantastic job.
They're
I mean,
pretty
there's
good.
a couple like
Yeah.
side characters that are like that kid only had one line for a reason, but I think for the most part they're really well performed.
Yeah,
I love
true.
what y'all have said, and there's a way I've heard it put to what Jeremy's talking about, that like children don't lack understanding, they lack discernment. So they get things are happening around them. They just don't have the like time, the wisdom which comes with time.
Mhm.
Knowledge does not come with time, wisdom does. To discern it properly, or even sometimes they do, and we just have a different way of kind of saying what is proper discernment,
Yeah.
which has been in all of time kind of lots of stories that say like be childlike, have a youthfulness to you. And I think in performances that comes out majorly in dialogue. And I think everyone's right that this movie is really tactical, and that's maybe not the right word, but uses its dialogue incredibly well and lets the like emotions play in the actions. But when there is dialogue, it's how kids would talk. Like that's what gets me so many times. And like bad child characters are ones that I'm like, I teach children, they don't talk like that. That's not what kids say. Or not like Clayton said with the dad being the drunk scene. Like he wouldn't be just sitting like saying these things like, Dad, you shouldn't have another drink. It's like no kid would do that. What would happen is what happened, where he's like, hey Dad, can you play another round of cards with me? Like just trying anything to be like, don't do this. Because I understand what's about to happen. You're about to take a drink and shut out, and I'll just be nothing sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
And the kid gets that, so he's like, play one more round of this game, and the dad's like, no, we have company.
And
like,
then he
that's
goes
it.
quiet.
And then he goes quiet, and that's all you need to know. And that's exactly, I think, how a child would react.
Yep.
Which we don't see in many projects. Again, I'm sorry to hate on it, but Stranger Things 5, I think, was the worst offender of like. It was like children don't just say their thoughts all the time, like in perfect, succinct little philosophical sentences. That's not how it works.
Yeah, and ironically, speaking of like child actors in horror, the main kid in Weapons was fucking awesome too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good. But yeah, I mean, it's ironic that in Stranger Things 1, like the adult actors were the problem and the kids were pretty good. And then in Stranger Things 5, it's like, hey, I think Winona Ryder finally figured it out. But nobody else remembers anymore. Now it's gone.
Yeah. Sorry for the Stranger Things hate people if you're a Stranger Things fan.
I'm sorry about it at all.
I was good with it. I had no problem. I mean,
oh well,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
That's good. That's good. I won't
say that it's
Shannon.
not worthy of some criticism, but I thought I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did too. Stranger Things to me is like one of those shows that I'm like, I'm just gonna ride the vibe train here. Like I don't expect this to blow my mind. But the vibe train is fun. The set design's cool. All that kind of stuff. They did some interesting things. But yeah, I mean we don't need to go into that. We have an episode on Stranger Things if you want more of that. We got a whole ass episode.
So I think that was great. I agree with all of you. The sort of nuanced approach of, like the way you put it, Jeremy. They're not just tiny idiots.
Yeah.
So don't write them as tiny idiots. Okay, I want to talk about pacing, and I'm trying to think of how to phrase this question. And we've had this conversation on the show before, so that's why I want to approach it a different way. Pacing's tough, and I also think it's this weird, mysterious thing to talk about because it's one I can't pinpoint language exactly to describe what works, what doesn't work. So I guess I'm just curious more to hear your thoughts on it, what maybe seems to work for you, what worked for this movie, because interestingly enough, the 3 movies I've seen from this director, 2 of them are excellent. They are slow burns. Like Tinker Tailor is a slow movie, but it hits these revelation bits of the spy like info perfectly to keep you interested in like knowing more. This movie, I think, hits the like vampire thriller bits perfectly to keep you interested to want to see the next thing. And then the 3rd movie I've seen by this director, I hated because it was so dreadfully slow. And it was The Snowman, which is a serial killer movie where like very little happens other than there's a lot of snow. So I'm very interested to hear like, A, have any of you seen The Snowman? What did you think? Maybe I'm wrong here. But B, the pacing of this film, like what is it that makes it work to like keep you engaged? And pacing in general, I don't know. It's a hard mountain to tackle, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I think first off, I think pacing is a personal taste thing. Like different people are going to find different levels of pacing acceptable. I made my spouse watch Let the Right One In with me the other night, and she found it dreadfully slow. Most of my criticisms were actually her criticisms. She just thought that the opening was so slow, that there was so little happening, that the pacing was just grinding along. And it is a slow-paced movie, but I didn't have any problem with that. So I think ultimately there's like a level of personal like comfort with the kind of story that you're getting into and whether you're comfortable with that level of pacing or not. If you tried to make a movie like Die Hard with the pacing of a movie like Let the Right One In, it would be a hard watch. But I think part of what makes any pacing work is creating tension in the scene and then varying the types of, giving some release and then creating a different type of tension in the next scene. Sometimes the next scene can be a release from the tension of the previous scene, but basically building that tension across the scene. And it can be a fast scene where the tension builds quickly, or it can be a slow scene where the tension builds up slowly. But it's got to be about building tension, and that begins with the setting whatever's at stake in the scene for the character emotionally. What's going on underneath, and early in this film, we don't know much about the characters, so that's a little bit difficult. And so we have these scenes, like the first scene is just like snow falling. Okay, it's just mood. So early on, this film is relying a lot on cinematography and sort of mood setting scenes to create the tension. And that may work for some people and may not work for others. Works for me, but may not work for other people.
Jeremy?
Well, and I do have answers to both of your questions, Travis, so don't you even worry. So, like, when it comes to pacing, and I think it is something that we've kind of touched on in this when we were talking about, like, dialogue and stuff, like, it is all implemented strategically, and that goes for the dialogue, but as well as the action. Like, everything that you see happen in this movie, it, like, leaves absolutely no questions. The violence in particular, it shows up. It leaves absolutely no questions about what you're looking at, what's happening, and you're like, yeah, okay, that's wow. All right. And it lingers only as long as it needs to, and then it's there. And the dialogue also is very, like, to the point. It communicates what it needs to with as much as it needs to, but not more. And I think that's the thing that kills pacing in a lot of movies, is that they do more. Like, either because, oh, this shot looks so good, we should just keep it going. Like, oh, we spent so much money on these special effects, let's do it. Like, oh, our audience members might be stupid, so let's explain just a little more. We can explain it just a little more so that even simple Jim walking in off the streets didn't know what he bought a ticket to. He knows what he's looking at when we put it on the screen. So, like, this movie obviously doesn't do that. It puts everything there that you need to put it together for yourself, and it is so good because of it. Now, when it comes to the snowman,
have you seen the snowman?
I decided not to watch it because I knew I could not take it seriously when the main character's name is Harry Hole. I can't. I can't, and I won't. And you can't make me.
Shannon, have you seen
says
the
you don't
snowman?
have standards?
I have not
Jeremy?
seen the Snowman. I've seen Tinker Tailor, but I've not seen the Snowman.
Yeah, Tinker Tailor, I love it. Snowman
Yeah,
was.
right.
Oof. It was like the scenes where what's his name is murdering people in the woods, and there's lots of snowfall.
Akan.
It's like that for 2 hours. It's pretty rough. Anyway, Clay, what do you think of pacing? And I know we've had this conversation before, but
so many times. Just to say something different, I agree with everything that's been said, but I think there's also an element of it that is cultural. Like, you can definitely, when you watch a certain culture of films, and then especially like that culture's take on a genre, for example, like J-horror is basically its own genre of horror because the Japanese approach, broadly speaking, J-horror approaches horror with such a specific lens and such a specific type of pacing and a lot of very like stylistic choices and choices. I'm trying to say tropes that are very specific to that particular brand of horror that sort of the Japanese have respected, and Korean horror has a very cultural feel to it as well. And I think this movie is a good example of like Swedish drama. It's very Bergman, it's very Sjordstrom, like Seven Seal or Phantom Carriage or Fanny and Alexander. You could kind of see the like influences of the Swedish greats in this movie. Like one of the scenes that stands out to me is like a very Bergman-y scene is the quick scene in the gym where all the kids like weave through and they're like kicking the balls or whatever. Just that to me, I was like, that looked like a Bergman scene. Like it didn't necessarily need to be in here, but like it fit really well too. It added like some color and some movement, and it just is that sort of like slow burn with some flair of the theatrical that Bergman always sort of had in his films. And that sort of like ever-present supernatural element, like that's in all of Bergman's movies. Maybe not all of them, but all the Bergman movies I've seen, they have that sort of like non-explicit supernatural element. Well, explicit but not intrusive is what I meant to say. Non-intrusive supernatural element that's sort of like is pervasive throughout the whole thing, but it doesn't make a Bergman movie a horror movie just because there's ghosts, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like this is a horror movie because there's enough instances where the vampires kill people that it makes it genuinely like there's some scenes that are very tense and genuinely frightening, right? But if you took out a couple of the killings, then this would just be a coming of age drama with a couple murders in it. And I think then you'd be closer to Fanny and Alexander, where it's like, yeah, there's ghosts, but this is not a horror film. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense. But I think what I'm trying to get at is there's that sort of like slow burn, drawn out storytelling style that is really popular amongst like the great Swedish films that I think this film is definitely influenced by.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another part of the pacing that maybe is new for me to say.
It's a really good point. Shannon, you look like you have something to say.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an aside, but since Clay brought up the violence in this film, and the elements of horror, I think maybe you guys don't agree with me, but I think that most of the like Ellie attacking people scenes are not the horrific scenes in the film. Like they're it's like because we know they're coming. Like you sit there, she's under the bridge. We know that she's gonna kill this guy. He's stumbling home. Like it's like there's a build up there, but it's not overtly horrifying. I think the horror in this movie comes in other scenes. It's like the scene that I mentioned with Hakan eating an apple while he's preparing.
Yeah,
it's the scene when the bullies grab Oscar and Connie, the lead bully, forces the other bullies to whip him with a stick. And they're clearly upset by being forced to do this. Like that is actually horrifying, even though it's such a small little thing. And so I think that there's these more. I mean, Virginia being attacked by the cat, that was both shocking and horrifying.
That was so good.
Also, Virginia's whole arc is horror for sure.
The older brother showing up, I think, was a big one for me. Like when you see him enter the locker room during the swim lessons, it's like, oh, like they brought someone
now I
new
feel
that's
fear.
bigger
now
and older.
I feel
like
uncomfortable in a way that I didn't when I'm just watching Ellie kill somebody.
Yeah,
So it was interesting to me the way that the horror in this film like was really emphasized by things that were not necessarily having anything to do with being a vampire.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think there was like only really one moment for me where I thought like, oh wow, this is actually a really scary moment with Ellie. And that's when like Oscar cuts his hand and then she's all like, okay, bro, we got 30 seconds. You run that way. I'm running the other way. And maybe you won't die.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, all right.
I think you've pointed to something too, Shannon, you said that it's a personal thing. I am constantly looking for the universal, as I want to do, and I think you've phrased this pacing problem for me This is why I ask repeat questions, because people like you are geniuses. In a way, that really clicks of like building and varying tension. I think that varying tension is super important, because slow movies get grilled for pacing all the time. But where I really started to think about this pacing thing was, why do I like John Wick and not Transformers? But I think you've really hit the nail on the head with like John Wick varies its action tension enough that like they space out the scenes and the scenes are different to where I'm like, okay, I need to pay attention because something new is going to happen that I haven't seen. It's going to be a mobile fight scene, or it's going to be in a different kind of interesting set, or there's going to be then element added like dogs. Whereas like Transformers is 2.5 hours, at least like the third one. We can maybe give some grace to the first two. But like when they get later in the films and Michael Bay seemed to phone it in, they're 2.5 hours of the same action scene. And I think that's what, like, it's not varied. So I'm like, oh, I can just be on my phone because I watched this 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's already happened.
And I've been watching it and I don't need to watch it anymore.
Yeah.
That was a really good way to put it, I think. But any more final thoughts on that before our pretentious question of the week?
I do think that's an interesting point that I haven't really thought of in those terms before, but it is interesting how the sort of like norm societally is that pacing should be fast. I feel like that's what we as storytellers are taught.
Yeah.
And I think therefore more stories are created that way, and therefore more people going to stories just expect them to be fast. Do you think that if that was less of a thing that storytellers were taught, that it would be less of an expectation, and that maybe people used to be better at waiting for the climax of a story or appreciating a climax when it arrived? Or do you think that that is like a natural thing that was always going to happen because people actually deep down do want that faster pace at the end of the day?
Mm.
That was like 4 questions in one.
No, it's one. It's one question.
Yeah,
do you think that, okay, maybe it's like 2, but I stand by that. I stand by that. It's like
2 questions.
It's at least at most 2 questions is my defense. I think
Probably not more than 3.
Who do you want to answer first?
It's 2 questions. I think I am trying to ask. First question, do you think that people are conditioned to want faster paced stories because writers have been taught that and therefore have churned out so many fast paced stories that they just think that's what a story is supposed to be? And then I guess sort of a tangential follow-up question is just, or do you think we naturally want faster paced stories regardless? Which I think you could still argue is sort of one question. Shannon, I ask you.
Well, so your premise is a chicken or egg question.
Yes.
And I think it's one that presumes that people do want faster paced stories. And I don't know that that's always true. I'll go back to what I originally said to Travis's question, which I think is that what you want in pacing is largely personal. And yes, you can have bad pacing when you have the same beat over and over and over again, like action, 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 action with no break. That's bad pacing. But some people come to a film wanting something, or a story or whatever, wanting something faster paced. Some people are ready to consume something that's slower paced. Some people are just open to whatever. So I don't think it's necessarily a given that that we're that everything is getting faster paced or should. But I think that writers are taught to eliminate the unnecessary and get to the story quickly, which I think most of the time is pretty good advice. It takes a rare level of talent to be able to do something like Let the Right One In does at the beginning of the film, which is like take its time. And even Let the Right One In doesn't take a ton of time before Hakan goes out in the woods and slashes somebody's throat. But it takes a good like 10 minutes or something before we get to that. And that's hard to pull off. Like most writers could not do that, could not pull that off and keep somebody involved keep a viewer or a reader involved for that long. And that's really the challenge with pacing, is you want to hook people quickly and give them a reason to care. And so usually that's like, let's get to the action, let's get to something exciting and dramatic as quickly as possible so that we don't lose our reader or viewer. But in terms of overall pacing, I think it depends on the work. It depends on the consumer, whether the reader or viewer of the work, and what they want out of the story.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. I'm mostly asking that question as somebody who prefers a slower pace and gets annoyed by fast-paced movies. Like, I don't like most action movies because I do like fall asleep to them, honestly. Like, by the time I've seen my 6th fight scene and I know the main character isn't going to die, I just really don't give even half of a shit. So it bores me to tears.
Right.
Now
is that a failure of pacing, or is that a failure of the underlying drama that they're trying to create in the scene and their inability to do that?
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's
probably both, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of my follow-up to that is like, there's a lot of ways to create to create tension. And I think any tension sort of increases the pace in a positive way. Like the plot can move slowly, but like our feeling of tension and anxiety for the characters and their circumstances can still like start to ramp. And I do think you need the ramp regardless of how quickly the plot moves along. I think people just get maybe overly concerned with the movement of the plot relative to the other things that make the story really work, which is like the character dynamics and mostly the character dynamics.
Yeah, and I think you guys are basically right about it. I think what it comes down to is that a faster pace is easier for someone to make feel like an intentional thing for the main consumers, which is not necessarily the people who are writers, connoisseurs, whatever. Like, say what you will about the Transformers movies, and I will. They're just god awful, and basically every
Very
action
successful.
sequence was probably written by saying, and then they punch for a bit in the script. So, like, but I think when you have something that moves so as quickly, and it makes it easy for people to be like, yeah, I'm on board, this thing's moving, and it takes a more skilled hand, or in the case of like movies, an entire village's worth of skilled hands to make a slower film feel as intentional as a faster one, which, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. And it comes down to that sort of ramping of tension. I think especially in horror, for me at least, it comes down to like not making things seem too hopeless to care about. Which has been my problem with a lot of horror things that we've covered, is that like, oh, well, everyone's fucked no matter how this ends. So I really don't have to care. And this movie kind of sidesteps that. It doesn't make things so grim and awful that I'm like, well, Oscar's boned for life. He'd probably better die, actually. It's all about that ramp. You wanna ramp it enough, but not too much.
Yeah.
So good luck with that advice. It's vague as you like.
I'm a big sucker for any movie that doesn't have to use the in media res cheat code, which like I'll forgive that all day. Like, I love Breaking Bad, and that's how it starts, right in the middle. Walter White in his underwear with a gun pointing at the cops. Like, yeah,
Fantastic.
it works. Like there's a reason people use it, but I am a sucker for movies that don't need it and can still create that really, really strong tension early on, which like another of my favorite Game of Thrones does not accomplish. Like when you rewatch it, episode 1 is fucking boring. And like if you like they start with the White Walkers, that's cool, but after that it's like, oh my god, okay, 90
Court drama.
characters. Let's just walk 90 characters through and everybody meet every character. And then it gets good like 6 episodes in. But like, you know, Babadook is a great example, I think, of that movie takes its time, big time, but when it starts to ramp right away, just through like the character dynamics, and I do think that's usually how that's accomplished, at least for me, is like really strong character work. But we're way off topic now. Sorry, Travis. What's your pretentious question?
No, I think I'm gonna just say that this is it because I have a lot of thoughts about this and I've not said them yet. I think because your original question was, remind me how you phrased it. Sort of do we want faster pacing innately, and are we
Conditioned to think that that's how stories are supposed to be, basically?
I think there is conditioning happening, and maybe I disagree. Maybe people disagree with me, but I do think there's conditioning happening. I mean, I've been in one writer critique group in my life because I'm sort of slowly trying to write a children's book, but not really committing to it super well. And that was like the first piece of advice I heard was like, oh, I've been reading a lot of C.S. Lewis when I started writing my book, and he's a big establishing shot guy. His first paragraphs are always kind of like these very establishing character descriptions, and here's the setting of London so you can really feel where we are, and I love that. I mean, Dickens does that too, and I'd been reading a lot of him, so I was imitating these writers. And I had like 2 people in my critique group tell me, you probably should jump to the action faster of this like cute dog story and not describe the farm in such detail. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I hate that. I don't want to follow that advice, but I do think there is conditioning happening, and I've been on this journey through the classics, which kind of like the Western canon for my job to teach sort of Western literature. And a lot of that is different. I mean, I finished Pride and Prejudice. That is a very exciting book, but the tension is different than I'd say people would say they look for these days.
Yeah.
Because the tension is in character relationships. You get the little nuances between each of the sisters and the mom and the dad, and like how overbearing the mother is. That's a tension point. And I know a lot of books I've read in modern time probably would brush that off as too slow or something. Not all. There's a lot of stuff that's very sort of classically written in that way. I'm not going to paint in too broad of strokes here. But I don't think it's innate, because I think we've seen it fluctuate in different historical times. Like antiquity is one of my favorite times to study, Greek antiquity. And I think it gets this stereotype of being slow, like the Odyssey and the Iliad being slow. I don't think the people that criticize that have read the first part of the Iliad in a long time, because it's just a fight that almost breaks out in a murder. Like the Iliad is right in the middle of the action, 9 years into the war when we start reading it. And the first line is rage. Like, sing muses of the rage of Achilles, the peril of the Trojans. It's like, if that's not fast-paced first line, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
So I think it's not innate because we've seen it fluctuate throughout time. But I also think I really love, again, Shannon, I'm singing your praises. I'm writing this down in my quote book. This very intention is just, that makes so much sense to me. Of like, that's what we look for. It's not slow or fast, because I can compare this movie, Let the Right One In, to the Witch one we reviewed the other day that I didn't like. Both slow burns, but the tension's different. And I can compare John Wick to Transformers, both fast-paced action films, but the tension's different. There's like a level of buy-in that's not happening with 2 of those examples and is happening in both. And even though their paces are on opposite sides of the spectrum. I think that's what we seek. We want. And my last thought would be, I always like to give metaphors compared to like physical reality, and I'm thinking of sports, specifically of like my life is in fighting sports, combat sports. You have to vary your pace, or you will lose every fight. You have to do feints. You have to slow down and speed up. The guys, if you go watch any boxing match ever, even the Jack Dempseys, who are known as like aggressive fighters, stepped off the gas a few rounds. You watch the guys who literally just bull rush in for 20 minutes, they get destroyed like every single time. So I think it's like a natural thing for us to want to go stop, and do it at the right moments, both in the physical and in the sort of mental.
See, I think you're right to a point, and I think what it really comes down to is something that Douglas Adams spells out very clearly in So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. For anybody who likes watching, go watch or listen to our last episode on that very topic. It's fantastic. But at a certain point, he talks about like things that like kill the pacing of stories. Like you can put in as much detail in whatever that you want, but if it doesn't add to the story, if it doesn't advance the plot, the world, or the characters, then you don't really need it. And that's what makes things feel like really like overly long, which is almost all of what's going on in the Transformers films. Hi Michael Bay, come on the show. We'll talk and drink and it'll be great. You'll have fun, I think. But
hey, he nailed the pace in Armageddon. I'm a sucker for that movie.
He fucking did, you know? But when it comes down to it, Douglas Adams says it makes for nice fat books, such as the American market thrives on, but it doesn't actually get you anywhere. You don't, in short, want to know. And I think that's the crux of it when it comes to pacing. If it doesn't get you anywhere, then why is it there? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just a folly to mistake plot movement for pacing. I don't think they're the same thing, and I think they're often mistaken as such.
Yeah.
Like, you can describe the world and be extremely interesting, and that can also infuse that world with tension without ever seeing a character. Or you can start us in a dumb conversation like the way Cabin in the Woods starts about cabinets, and that can be infused with tension. Like, the opposite of that is Anne Leckie's The Raven Tower, but that whole book is like told from the perspective of like a stone monolith that has just been around so fucking long that like every other being on the planet is like, an infant to it. And so it's watching this like huge colossal political struggle, and it's just sort of like, yeah, this is gonna happen. Like, I've been here since the Ice Age watching shit happen. And now I'm watching this and I'm going to be a part of it. And it starts with that sort of zoomed out, like, description of the world, but it's filled with tension and intrigue. And the plot is moving at a clip from the jump.
I have one more question off of that, if you have time, Shannon, and to you first. I'd love to hear your thoughts of like, how much does the component of I always used to compare like reading philosophy and reading like hard, deep fantasy. In my mind, they kind of click because there's a level of like, okay, I'm confused now, but I won't be. Like, I'm kind of committing to like that this author will let me know what I need to know when I need to know it. And I always made that comparison from the prologue of Wheel of Time. Is one of my favorite prologues of all time, and it makes zero sense. Like, there's a guy and it seems futuristic but also medieval, and there's another guy and they seem to have some beef, and there's a dead lady and you're like, what is going on? I'm hooked. So how do you think that plays into pacing? And I guess even into like the tension of the plot, how much do you look for that in a story of the sort of yes and I'm not where I need to be yet, but I have confidence in the writer that I'll get there kind of element.
So, speaking my language, philosophy degree. I haven't read The Wheel of Time since high school, and that was a long ass time ago. I think you hit on something really interesting there, which is like good writing establishes trust between the writer and the reader or the viewer in the case of a film. And it's hard to define how you do that. I think you do it in small ways, probably. Establishing little details about the world, about the characters, creating that tension off the bat, even if you haven't explained what's going on. Creating little bits of tension, of giving just enough and creating a consistent world so that the reader or the viewer trusts that you're going somewhere, and that will carry you through a lot of mysterious, I don't know what's going on, for quite a while. I've recently been reading Stephen Erickson's Malazan Book of the Fallen. And the first book, Gardens of the Moon, is notoriously difficult for that very reason. Like, it throws you into the middle of a world with dozens of point of view characters and a complex history and magic system and religion and metaphysics and all this stuff, and it explains none of it, and forces you to just kind of like grapple with it. But Erickson is such a good writer that if you trust that he's gonna, that he knows what he's doing, it's like it becomes an epic journey like no other. So, but it's, you hit on that important point of like establishing trust between the author and the reader, or the author and the viewer. And I don't know if there's like a secret to doing that, but I suspect it has to do with establishing tension, creating consistency, and developing believable characters that act honestly to who they are, even if you haven't explained what all's going on and what's at stake and what the plot is yet.
Yeah.
I always compare it to philosophy because I think the like small keys, I call them the keys. I think I heard it called that in some class probably. But like the small keys that let you in on, okay, this premise is being set up. If I see those pay off enough intellectually, then I trust that when the big key comes, all of the blocks will fit. And I think that you hit the nail on the head with like characters, with the tension. Those are like the small keys. And I'm like, okay, I've been brought into this enough that I trust eventually all of it will fit together and I'll get what's going on in the broader spectrum of things here.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this movie does, but its keys are like the hints to the vampire trope that just like slowly reveal themselves throughout.
Yeah, especially the like Oscar becoming the new, I keep forgetting his name. What's his name? Hakan.
Yeah.
That I think
the new thrall.
The new intern, yes.
The new intern.
Hopefully a little better at killing.
Well, he's a lot smaller.
Worse.
It leaves the movie leaves some open questions because we see at the end of the movie, like Oscar throws the knife away, like he's saying no to violence, but now he's become Ellie's caretaker, and so how's that going to work? Like, is he going to kill for her? We don't know.
Maybe Hakan was a kid too when she met him. This is just her game. Yeah.
Could
I
be.
always thought that.
It makes the most sense.
In
That's
the
kind
book,
of what I thought.
I haven't read the book, but I've read a synopsis of it, and he's not. He's like he's
Oh.
it's pretty messed up. Like he's a pedophiliac school teacher basically,
Oh.
and he gets ousted
Hmm.
because of being a pedo, and that's why he glums onto Eli.
Ah.
See, my headcanon was a lot
Right.
sweeter, Hakan.
More fucked up for Ellie, kind of, but
Yeah.
less fucked up in general. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Shannon. On
Yeah,
that note,
sorry for ruining that for you.
ruining the vibe.
But that's the book. It's different
But
from
that-
the film.
hey,
So you can
that's
just
the-
have
yeah.
your film and think what you will about the things that are
Yeah.
real, and they can be true.
I don't know. Yeah,
You don't
I
have to
know.
read it at all
right.
if you don't want to.
I'm probably not going to be honest, because I've at this point seen the movie like 7 times. So I'm probably just gonna just ride with that because I have too many other books to read.
Yep.
Well, I think we've reached the end, lads. Before we let you go, let's rate this thing. So the way we rate things on Fermented Fiction is we say how many drinks or substances of your choice do you need to enjoy it to its fullest extent. And we'll start with you, Jeremy.
Hey.
Hello.
So what you're gonna need, if you can find it in a reasonable amount of time, you can get yourself a nice bottle of Swedish punch. Or some blood. I don't do what you feel.
Or milk.
I'm not here to tell you how to live.
Or milk.
Maybe
If you
don't
like your blood filtered.
maybe don't or milk, yeah. Milk is it's almost the same.
That's the
So-
most disturbing fact I've learned today.
Yeah, that is pretty. That is pretty. Honestly, like pretty fucked.
I'm glad I'm lactose intolerant.
I know. I told my wife that, and she loves milk, and she was real upset to hear it. And so I just
vampires
yelled,
should be able to
until
eat
we meet
cheese.
again, and ran away. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, have something. You know, you'll want to have a drink, and you can judge how much you would like whenever there's. I was gonna say a hint, but this movie doesn't really do hints. It just does like, yeah, that happened. So whenever it's like that, but it points to there being vampires, just have a thing. And then by the time you find a lady getting just absolutely brutalized by a room full of cats, which is fantastic in a way I don't think anyone was prepared for.
Nope.
You'll be having just a grand old time. You'll be ready for that tension to ramp right up.
You will. Travis?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go deep into the memory of some of us early 2000s kids. There used to be a thing called the Schwann's Man.
Oh yeah.
I think it
Let's
still
go.
exists, but it's like a delivery system now. It's
Yeah,
like
now you can just
Amazon.
like order it online.
So
it's not the
sucks.
same as when a
It's not the
man would
same.
arrive at your house.
Yeah.
with a
So the
van.
Schwann's
Yeah.
Man was awesome. It was a guy, a literal guy in a truck who showed up twice a
Show
month
us the catalog
with
and
a
be
bunch
like, you
of-
have to order food right
bunch
now.
of frozen dinners and a catalog that had all the selections of frozen dinners. Anyway, the Schwann's Man had this cherry juice that came in like a little box that was the
Yeah.
best cherry juice ever. And you just poured the cherry juice syrup into like a gallon thing, and you mixed the appropriate amount of water, and that stuff was like blood red. So
Mhm.
you got to find the Schwann's Man cherry juice, okay? And you have to make a punch bowl of that and mix it with a handle of McCormick's. Right? And you're going to
Okay.
drink your little vodka blood thing.
That's
every time
the booze
like-
you're going for.
Yeah,
All right.
McCormick's and Schwann's Man cherry juice. You're going to drink it every time there's clearly a vampire thing in the movie.
Sure.
You're going to drink it every time you're creeped out by some of the family or relationship dynamics between the apparently pedophile guardian and the kid. And
Allegedly.
also just stuff, the bullies. Lots of drinking here, the McCormick's and the cherry juice.
Oh yeah.
And then you're gonna, whatever you have left in a glass, you're gonna finish the glass at 3 points in the movie. The cat scene, the light on fire scene and the pool scene. That's you down it.
Sure.
You should probably be a good portion through that punch bowl by the end.
I think
And
you'll have
quite-
killed it like halfway through.
Yeah, quite drunk.
You will have killed it or yourself. And
Or
hey, this
So
is
you might need 2 handles of McCormick's, but non-negotiable. Schwanzman cherry juice. That stuff was the best. I once vomited it all over my mom's White Explorer. So,
that's a point in favor.
no, I was
Just a
reasons.
regular
I was very
point?
sick at the time, but
Just a regular point.
there was a big
But-
old red stain on that Explorer.
This is a public service announcement, apparently not from the entire show, just from me. Go just one step better than McCormick's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just one.
I want you to know,
You don't have to
Jeremy,
go much better.
You seem to be nitpicky about the vodka. You don't know this cherry juice. Like, you won't taste the vodka. This is strong.
I know the cherry
juice.
juice. Unfortunately, I
will
also know
not taste the
McCormick's
vodka.
because I spent time with your brother.
I don't
Ew.
think you'll taste it. I don't think you'll taste the McCormick's.
That's
but
not
hey,
the issue.
Me and Jeremy bonded over a lot of McCormick's, and if you've had the amount we have had and puked up the amount we have, you can't not taste it.
Okay, so go one step lower. Do Lewis and Clark.
Don't go lower.
What's your problem? Don't do Lewis and Clark.
Travis,
First
are you
of all,
okay?
What's your drink?
Yeah, mine. I was gonna say I'm gonna say wine and cheese. Because I think that's a very vampire situation, especially with Jeremy's new insight on milk. In theory, as long as it's not a cheese with anything else in it, vampires should be able to eat it. So this is a nice charcuterie situation for a vampire in your life. And you can throw some crackers on there just in case you don't know if someone's a vampire, just to test them out. Like, if they won't eat the crackers, then you'll know for sure. And then wine, of course, because it's blood red and classy. Which, vampires mostly are. Even Ellie, who's like a kid version of classy, but pretty classy for a kid, I would say. Pretty sophisticated and intelligent, and making her way through life however she got to do it. So there we go. That's what I say. And you can just have as much as you want. If you want to get feisty with it, go ahead and prepare yourself one shot of Fireball, and you know when to take it.
I am also going to say, I think a bottle of good red wine to drink while watching this movie. As I think Jeremy pointed out, the use of red, or maybe it was Travis that pointed it out. Basically, the use of red appearing in every scene to symbolize blood. I think you got to have something red that you're drinking. So I'm going to go with some red wine. And you should take a drink whenever the camera zooms in on somebody's eyes, just their eyes, because that is a scene that happens a lot in this movie.
That's a good one.
Like this. Definitely take a drink.
Very true.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
Love it. And while you're on the big screen there, Shannon, will you tell the Fermented Universe one more time who you are, what you're writing, and where they can find you online?
Yes, absolutely. I am Shannon Rampe. You can follow me on my website at shannonrampe.com or on Instagram or Blue Sky at Shannon Rampe Author. My current project, or my next project coming out, is going to be my debut novel, Gods of Sky and Dust, coming out sometime next year from Diversion Books, probably summer or maybe fall, as well as a sequel, which will be probably 2028. So super excited about those. So if science fantasy that sounds like Dune meets Final Fantasy sounds like your jam, sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get to stay in the know.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for letting the right one in with us. Shannon, you were certainly the right one for this episode, and we really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you inviting me. This was fun.
Hell yeah. It was a great time. And thank you to all the viewers and listeners out there. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really, really like the show, go and subscribe on our Substack. It's only $8 a month to get all the exclusive content. And, you know, there's some of that. There's a lot coming because we got lots of footage from StokerCon, lots of exclusive small interviews we did, and some fun footage from Boots on the Ground StokerCon experience. So yeah, you should tune in. You should go check that out. We'll also be on the air tomorrow to recap StokerCon with our friend Jeff C. Carter from We Bleed Orange and Black. So come check that out if you want to hear a more anecdotal episode, not reviewing any movies, books, or shows. Tomorrow we're just going to be talking StokerCon, recapping the Stoker Awards, going through the winners, and doing some fun stuff like that. And then next week, as usual, we have our slate of episodes. So we got 2 episodes. Next week, we got one at the end where we'll be doing The Odyssey. And we will be covering the Christopher Nolan film because it's coming out very, very soon. And we're going to debate it with a veteran of the show, C.S. Humble. So yeah, tune in, subscribe, like, comment, share it with your friends. If you hate the show, share it with your enemies. Just to fucking get them. You know?
Like a glitter
Get 'em,
bomb.
guys.
Glitter bomb people.
Glitter bomb your friends with our show. Shannon, thank you so much for being here, my friend. And I'll see you around on the con circuit. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye, folks. Thanks.